Alright, let's go. Okay, never mind. I have sunk many hundreds of peaceful hours into The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and now I get to do it all over again in 4K? The deeper I go, the weirder it gets. Like, you see this too, right? This man is in the ground, they are diagonal, and their wives have left them, and Mifa's grace is sideways. I was taking a jaunty stroll one night when someone took a trip to platform 9 3/4. This guy also had somewhere to be, just as the dialogue should have frozen him. And this donkey spawned without a walking animation. Not that it's holding her back. At least you can run free, my lizard friends. Okay? How are you doing over there? Living your best life? Alright, I'll leave you to it. I know what you're thinking. Mark, does it work with frogs? No, it doesn't. Wait, I have one more frog. Yes, it does. I threw other things off the cliff. They all went through the water and weren't playing the splash effect until they'd stopped rolling at the bottom of the lake, and the splash appeared above their resting positions, not where they hit the surface. Now, as for why I was throwing lizards off a cliff, don't ask questions you aren't prepared to learn the answers to. Before we get to the weirder glitches, come, take a rest under this awning. Not over there. Come on, plenty of room under here, you can do it. No, okay, changed your mind? Oh, okay, good to see you again. Come on over. We are not over there. Oh, this might take a while. Oh, come on, you can do it. You can do it. There we go. Oh, no. All right. Not that my horse is any smarter. She was trying real hard to find those treats, and then came the wind. Poor idiots. Now it's time for some boundary breaking. I'm not just talking invisible walls, or gaps in the ground, or what happens at the literal boundary of Hyrule, not even the many cliff sides without boundaries, or boundaries without ground. We're doing this. At the fairy fountain near Terrytown, you can find an open gap in the cliffside. Good luck getting out though, because these polygons are only visible from one side. Hilariously, even the backside, or underside, becomes a slippery surface in rain. Speaking of improperly coded rain, that Guardian Temple in Akkala gets underground rain. I found another of these gaps at the bottom of the river in Tabantha, which also glitched this enemy. And one more south of the jungle, although Link probably can't fit through this crack. Remember those notifications that would spawn a treasure chest if we started the game from them? Well, there it goes. Yeah, great deal. Who knows what could have been in there. If you enter an area before it's done loading, gameplay freezes, but the music and environmental effects continue. I've also gotten frozen for these skeletons to load. The easiest way to trigger these loading freezes is to ride the motorcycle, especially around Hyrule Castle. The developers commented that they had to limit its speed so that the game would have time to load before Link could reach the next area. Did you know that doors are loaded separately from buildings? And when Link goes home, everyone outside despawns, even the fire, which didn't return for a while. Now let's go outside and adventure! Okay, wrong horse. Animals appear to fall a bit as they spawn. Those Lionel arrows do just spawn out of nowhere above Link, and birds that fly into cliffs return to that void from whence we all come. Phaedra appears to rise out of the water, but actually fades in above it. Or just doesn't. Dragons are so mystical. This Bokoblin's monster parts had a bit of a delayed entrance. Other times they just never load. Wait, did killing that Bokoblin spawn a deer? Why not a blind wolf that just runs on by and okay, never mind. Ground details such as leaves and pebbles have a short draw distance that you can see just by moving the camera overhead. They spawn by rising up from the ground, and apparently these can also take some time to load. Moblins are jokes. You can break their script just by getting close. Or apparently by putting a barrel in front of them. To this day, he is still walking nowhere. The lizard things are also pretty stupid. And whatever this is. I won! Hitting this Stalkoblin caused a duplicate jaw to spawn and rise directly upward at a reduced frame rate. Like I said, my Switch is cursed. I killed 2 Bokoblins with 1 arrow. Don't ask me how, they weren't even touching. This happened while setting up for our 2-player Zelda playthrough. You can see there's no way those bones could have gotten blown so far in that amount of time, and it looks like they just kept on accelerating. Guardians can clip through walls, and if you use stasis on a walking guardian that waits to be triggered, it just falls through the earth. Girl, same. And if you have any idea what this Lionel was trying to do here, let me know. Ragdolls are funny. Here's Link with a slightly delayed reaction.
Find a way around that thing's shield.
If you've made it this far into the video, you deserve a reward. Here's some floppy Link ASMR for easy listening. So yeah, my Link's taken a lot of falls, but don't worry, he lands on his feet. Well, he landed on his head, but then his feet. He's got swagger like that. And a broken leg. Look, he's doing his best out there. Somebody's gotta bring the rupees home, and Zelda's been incorporeal for a century. If you get donked by a boulder when first trying out the Master Cycle, the arrow remains attached to Link's hand. Messing with the bow in midair can also freeze the glider at his side, you know, in case you thought the glider could be even more physically possible. Just like in real life, lightning can't hurt you if it misses you by 1 inch. Here's what it looks like when spawning from the light fog, I guess. Sometimes the screen shake can slip the camera underground. Akala looks like a coral reef. The jungle looks... whoa, what was in those hardy durians? Not much going on in the desert though. And if you want to see what those spicy peppers got going on down there, you can find a floating plant near the Rito stable. And speaking of horticulture, there are some silent princesses at the Gerudo Fairy Spring which don't register on the camera. Shadows only spawn within a certain draw distance of the camera position, easily seen under Vametto, but that relative camera position does not update while Z-targeting. Also, loading a new area can cause clouds to despawn. The camera stutters at the entrance of a stable. Maybe this is caused by the jagged polygons of the tarp and the camera trying to maintain a certain distance from objects. Here, the Kakariko Shrine event didn't line up with the camera correctly, so it jumps when exiting the cutscene. The camera has a maximum speed, as you'll learn when you get launched by a Molduga. Finally, I don't even know what was going on with the lighting of the grass around Link's legs here. Gameplay freezes for Koroks, but I've had sound effects from just before the cutscene play again during it. But not actually the same sound, the same cue. Notice how the second Link jumping voice clip is different. Here's an enemy attack that wasn't paused. Thankfully Link turns invincible, but he keeps his hitbox and can still be moved. Here's one way that Link can make it up to that divine beast on his own. But Naboris isn't programmed properly, Link just gets flung off. Here's what it looks like when the game remembers that blood moons are disabled during the Master Trials on the Great Plateau. I've also gotten blood moon effects at the wrong times. Here's what happens when you spawn at exactly midnight and the game, almost does a blood moon, but then changes its mind. My adventures on the Great Plateau continued with a Lizalfos caught in a loop running away from some bees. To this day, it is still going. Did you know that sound effects have assigned locations and change volume depending on where the player's camera is positioned? The sound of this shrine rising missed its cue to end and remained where my camera was just before the cutscene began. And then this happened, even though he didn't even touch me! Walk it off, Link. We've dropped worse things on your head. So that's most of the glitches I've found. If you want more Zelda content, I did a 2-player run, and I'll be at the Switch 2 preview event in a couple of days. My YouTube channel is half Nintendo, half card games. If that sounds fun to you, make like Link and gently stroke that subscribe button.